And more legal developments for the former president are expected today. The judge overseeing the New York civil fraud case against him is expected to release a decision which could lead to a hefty fine and affect Trump's ability to do business in the state. Joining us now to discuss is Bennett Gershman, former New York prosecutor and law professor at Pace University. Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's begin here with what is at stake.
Well, Judge Edgeron under New York law has the authority to impose huge financial penalties against Mr. Trump and his family. The judge can impose a fine of up to, well, the Attorney General is asking for $357 million. The judge couldn't even go beyond that in terms of financial penalty. The judge could totally ban Trump from ever doing business in New York again by denying him any licenses or certificates. And even more staggering, the judge could order that Trump's properties be dissolved or liquidated and have some receiver appointed to take over the properties. So these are punishments that are authorized, we think, in the New York law. And it's just going to be a wait and see as to how the judge decides what kind of penalty to impose.
And is this an all or nothing ruling?
No, I mean, it's hard to say. The judge could impose a ban, for example, for a certain period of time, like 5 years, and after that, see how Trump is operating. But you know, this is going to be a very, very serious order that the judge is going to impose for lots of reasons. One, the staggering amount of fraud that was committed, billions and billions of dollars over many, many years. And even recently, they found deficiencies in some of the documents that he submitted. You know, a receiver by the judge found deficiencies, and we know that Trump's financial CEO Alan Weisselberger has already seemed to have admitted certain false statements that he made, which may go to show that Trump had an intention to defraud, which is not something that needs to be proved. But I think the judge might find that Trump engaged in a conspiracy to defraud the banks and insurance companies, and if that's the case, that might even heighten the seriousness of the remedy, of the penalty that the judge is going to impose.
I wanted to ask you, where does that $370 million figure come from?
It's a calculation that the Attorney General made as to the amount of the windfall, the amount of extra money that Trump gained by his dishonest filings, by his inflating of his properties. And it also represents certain penalties and interest over the decade-plus years that Trump engaged in his fraudulent behavior.
Aside from this case, Trump has a series of criminal cases against him, as well as many expected to play out in the coming months. What impact do you expect all of this will have on the political campaign?
Well, of course, it's already had an impact, but ironically, the more Trump seems to get in trouble, the more his MAGA followers seem to support him. And so it's unclear. He's gone into courtrooms and campaigned in courtrooms. It doesn't seem to have lessened his ability to campaign, so it's hard to say. I mean, I think we can speculate that if he does get, let's say, convicted, we know that many of his followers might leave him simply because he's been found to have engaged in, criminal behavior. But really, it is unclear right now how much this is, limiting his ability to campaign, his ability to raise money. Not clear yet.
Bennett Gershman, former New York prosecutor and law professor at Pace University. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Mary.